Hey there, I'm back with another video. It is pretty late in the day. I think it's like 2:38, January 11th. And I'm here making this video because, I was laying in bed and I was thinking, I was actually watching kind of a movie and then I was listening to some music. I'm doing a bunch of different things, right? Because I really find, just staying at home very boring. But I think it's important for me to know, just say it. I just want to say it. And I probably said this before, but it's very cleansing for me to say it. It's because sometimes I get these intuitive feelings that people don't fully understand things when I say it the first time. And I when I talked about me cutting people out of my life, I meant that. I meant it. It's like what these people did was they put me in a situation, especially what makes it uh, what makes it extreme. What makes me feel disturbed, what makes me feel the most uncomfortable, is the fact that I was adopted. I was adopted. It was not known to me. I was mistreated. And then I was psychologically abused by this particular group of people, which consisted of the 533 kids as well as the Collins clan. And I don't, there is no way in the world that I would ever want to have anything to do with these people. And say it's really important because, people in this community tend to associate employment opportunities with marriage, unfortunately. And to a lot of people who do that, I'm a single woman. And I think there might be some discussion as to maybe somebody else that might be trying to creep in, okay? Maybe like an ex or something. This is very important. When I said that I was done with my past, I meant that I was done with my past. That means I don't want anybody that I used to know as Maria Gordon in my life hanging on, attaching themselves to me, trying to put pressure on my son to, or any of that sort of stuff. It is time for me to move on. So I talked about, I do not have any interest in how I view this sort of betrayal is too great to ever forgive. It cannot be forgiven, okay? It cannot be forgiven. It is the sort of thing that a lot of people would, get a restraining order against or make it so that they never have to see these people again. And this is how I feel about it. And the sad part is that I was dealing with a community for the longest time that seemed like they didn't understand this. And this took years and years and years and years, okay? So, I'm out here trying to look for work. I'm all by myself and I'm flying solo. So people need to understand that no, I do not have a kingdom spouse. I don't have any of that. So it's important that people know. Now, I did talk about my interest in Vladimir Putin. I'm very realistic about that. Okay, Vladimir Putin's in Russia, which I've talked about this before. Okay, so I'm somebody who is basically by themselves. Okay, I do get the intuitive feeling that maybe the Collins tried to pressure my son or tried to put try to after what they did, how offended they were, how offensive they were, how psychologically damaging they were, how abusive they were. There is a possibility that they would actually have the audacity to try to crawl back into my life. The answer is no. Okay, the answer is absolutely no. Okay, and I do know that some people resented me because of me not wanting to fall in line with their group activity. You have to understand that is, like I said, I made a great effort to change my life and move away from, Jehovah's Witnesses. I never had anything to do with Mormons, so, I resent that. So I want to make myself very clear because I know for many, many years I was going on with this issue where I had maybe Bruce's family were communicating with my son, privately, putting pressure on him. The answer is I never want anything to do with the Collins. I mean that. Okay? I do not want anything to do with Joel Graham. I mean that. Okay? So my point is that, I don't know anybody that I don't have a connection with people that I used to know. I'm not associated with the kids of 533. I'm literally all by myself, okay? So I have to, I don't want people, acting as if I'm supposed to be beholding or have to explain myself or my actions for some guy that I'm not associated with. That is the most traumatic thing that has ever, occurred to me. And also, the fact that I'm upfront, I have no interest in being a part of those religions, okay? Because I made a point in my life to leave those many, many years ago. So, I understand that they probably put pressure on my son, and I resent you guys from doing that. This is my life, okay? And I'm upset that you put my son in that sort of situation where you were abusing him psychologically, right? To make him, to try to make me change my life. My life, my philosophy in life is what gives me wings. It is what gives me the ability to even face the world. I cannot deal with how life is in the outside world, mainly because I realized that I was dealing with me being a setup in this, I'm going to call it a program, okay? Where we had people, the community harassment, the lies, the bloodline targeting, all of it, okay? And I know that the Collins family, probably tried to put pressure on my son, tried to do all kinds of manipulative things to try to keep me. And this is why, this is just more reason. It added more fuel to the fire. I never want to see these people ever again. Okay? The message I'm getting right now is that people do recognize the fact that I do live a unique lifestyle. That is by default. If you experienced all of these things, you're going to be in a situation where you just can't trust people. And when people show their true colors, they could sit there and say, "Oh, I was brainwashed," and I would say that they probably were brainwashed. Okay, but the experience is something so traumatic that it just needs to move on. I do not need to see these people. I do not want to. I do not forgive these people. I will never forgive these people, and I don't care what the excuse is. Okay, it's just like if somebody rapes you or beats your grandmother or does something really horrible to somebody, and and then you're traumatized, and then you have a bunch of ignorant people who think it's okay to bring these people around you again. It's not okay. It's not okay. Okay. So now I'm just like trying to get back with my life and move on, move forward. But I want to make sure, because I have to constantly talk to myself about this issue. I do not want to encounter anybody who's holding secrets for anybody, okay? Because I will tell you right now, I do not want anything to do with anybody from my past, okay? And that's very important for the entire community to know it. Now, earlier this morning, I did address, I talked about my frustration about my son and, the issue that we were involved with this whole Mormon thing. I meant what I said. I want people to understand, hey, people have different lifestyles. They have different situations that go on in their life, and, I'm not used to, employment really should not be based on religion. I understand a lot of people do it that way, but when people look at employment or try to entangle it with religion, it becomes a nightmare. It really does become a nightmare, and that's exactly what ended up happening to me. What happened was, is like, Bruce was, he's not really a Jehovah's Witness, but whatever. I would never want to live like a Jehovah's Witness, and I resent these people coming into my life. Okay, and I resent them because I made it a point for my son not to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I never wanted him to be a Jehovah's Witness. But he's over the age of 18. He can choose what he wants to do. Okay, but I was never raised to believe that we were going to operate within like this family type thing. And even if I did consent to that many years ago, I have to, and I didn't. I never would have consented into being a part of this family structure to where Rashawn's involved and all these other people. Never, okay? That never was brought up when I was growing up in the Gordon family when I was a kid, right? I was told by the time I'm 18, I was going to live my own life, okay? So when it comes to this whole, the Bruce Collins thing, I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I would never want to be a Jehovah's Witness. And just to be a Jehovah's Witness, just to get a job, seems abusive, okay? Because not only would I hate being a Jehovah's Witness, I would hate that job because then if I did something that I'm used to doing, right, as Maria Gordon, where I don't, no. The answer is just no, okay? It's not going to work, okay? So I would appreciate it if people have been pressuring my son or trying to, make him feel guilty or trying to put pressure on him. Leave my son alone, okay? That is wrong, okay? I don't appreciate the manipulation. Okay. So when I first moved here to Bakersfield, my intention was to find stability on my own. You know what I mean? And I was upset when I found out that people were working behind the scenes, manipulating my employment and everything. It almost made me feel like nothing mattered. Like, what's the point? What is the point if you can't fly solo? This is how I feel. I don't, because I am not orientated to be a part of a duo or a group or a network dynamic. I'm not like that. I've flown solo all my life, and find out that some people were manipulating my employment. It made me feel like there was no point to anything. It was worthless. It felt worthless. Okay. The message I'm getting right now is that my son is safe, and he does understand my feelings about people. Um, that people can actually, when they get involved with your stuff and they start prying, and then they start manipulating and switching things over to maybe what they think is good. Like, I know, like, for example, the Collins, right? I would never want any of my stuff identified with anything Jehovah's Witness at all. At all. Okay. So the very fact that these people got involved and tried to attack my son and then manipulate my son, psychologically abuse my son, is too much for me to deal with. Okay? And like I said, I felt like I kept saying it over and over and over again. Leave me alone. You do not know how traumatizing it is knowing that these people were just sitting here, after me expressing how I feel, how I can't express it any more clear, that I want you out of my life. Okay, and there is no way in the world that being around you would ever seem palatable, especially after what you did. Coming to understand after you psychologically and financially abused my son, and then that reveals how you truly feel. So my feeling is, I don't care if you're sorry, because at this point your apology is worthless, because something bad happened, and it's always going to be like, you're only saying this, right, because you fucked up. Okay, and so it means nothing. So stay away from me. I want nothing to do with you, and I want to forget you. Okay, do not sit here and try to put pressure on my son, or try to manipulate him, or use coercion, because that's what you've done, and you probably influenced my son's boss to do that. Please knock it off. Okay, knock it off. I would never want to be a Jehovah's Witness. I would put a gun in my mouth before I ever announce that religion. Please leave me alone. Okay, and I'm serious about it. And this is what bothers me about these people, because they're like, you've created such a problem. How dare you ever ask me for anything? Okay. Now I don't know what's going on, but something about the British flag and my I don't know. Maybe it could be King Charles himself. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, but the people that I used to know in my past, okay, I'm just going to announce this to King Charles right now. The people in my past were all pathological abusers, every single last one of them, okay? And they would love to crawl themselves back into my life pretending that they care about me, okay? There are some things that people can do that could make it so that you never want to see these people again. And this is exactly how I feel. Okay, this is exactly how I feel. Okay, and I get tired of these people trying to use manipulative tactics, using my son's employer to try to, withhold payment, put us in a situation. So they basically tried to threaten our life if we don't do something that you want us to do. You have no right to do something like that. The message I'm getting right now is that my son is proud of me, and he does love me, and I love my son very much. I never had any intentions of them knowing the Collins. Like I said, for the Collins to sit here and think for 1 minute that I would read it. Do you understand? I'm willing to put my life on the line. Do you understand? I almost want to burst into tears when I think about how you wasted my life, my time, and you sit there and think that I would actually want to even consider you. Please leave me alone, and leave me alone forever. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is something about lucrative positions. I'm still looking for work, and it's very frustrating. And see, like I said, there's some things I do not forgive, okay? People who interrupt or affect my life journey when it comes to my career, you're on my shit list for eternity. Okay, I work too hard. I've dealt with too many obstacles. I've had too many struggles in my life to even think about making an exception for anybody who even affects my life in that way. Okay, so I need to make it very clear, because I want my home restored to the way it used to be. Me and my son, I want my son to have peace of mind. Leave him alone. Do not bother him. Do not sit here, try to put pressure on him. Do not sit here and call his employer to try to get his paycheck so it gets paid to Bruce. How dare you? How dare you? Okay, you are evil. And if my son should know better to have any sympathy for Bruce Collins for doing what he did. Okay, that, I mean, I keep getting these feelings that maybe Bruce is dead, maybe he's not. It really doesn't matter. Just leave us alone. Just leave us alone. Okay. And see, some people, they would change their mind. They would be like, oh, well, I would give them a second chance. I will never give you a second chance when you do something like this, okay? And I would never want to be your wife, okay? And I would never, ever want to be your wife and then expect people for me to live a life of a Jehovah's Witness and even worse, live a role as your wife. Like I'm supposed to sit here and hold my life back for somebody I do not love, nor would I ever. Okay, so the answer is no. The message I'm getting right now is that benign and friendly people are willing to assist me. I hope so. Okay, because I don't know anybody in this community, so I'm basically praying and hoping that I will meet somebody who is decent to where I don't have to deal with the toxicity and all this stuff. Okay, I do not have anything to do. I do not. I find it's a traumatizing issue thinking about the Collins family. I think I've made that very clear. If they do not understand, if they do not understand, I want my son to report them to the authorities. Period. Okay. And I don't know why people would even play around with this. I hate you. I fucking hate you, all of you. Okay. That goes for the kids of 533 as well as Joel Graham. Okay. It's time for me to move on. Okay. Now I don't know why this British flag keeps coming up. If it's King Charles, if you have my back in some way, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, but you need to understand, like, there's some people do things. I don't know if Bakersfield employers do this, like where they have these kingdom spouses things, like, or did the Collins make this up based on their tradition? I really don't know. I just know that it's illegal. Okay, and just the thought of it, just the thought of going on this merry-go-round with dealing with manipulation of the 533 kids, bothering my son, putting pressure on my son, yeah, that bothers me. It really does. Putting pressure on my son, trying to weave themselves back into my life, I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. Like I said, I cannot say no any more than I've already said it. Okay? And my life feels threatened just thinking about it. Okay? So, like I said, these are abusers I will never, ever want to see. I don't want people even thinking I have anything to do with them. If they are telling people in the community that they are, then they're lying. Okay? I need my protection and I need to feel safe. Okay? And these people have caused too many problems and I want them to go away. And I want you to leave my son alone and I just want to be with my son, and hopefully we will have to figure out how we're going to get ourselves back out of this mess that you guys created. And hopefully the decent people in this community, if there are any, will help clear my name. I'm tired of dealing with you guys. Okay? And like I said, I make these statements because I've said it over and over again. Like for the last 5 years or however long it's been since I realized who was involved in this, I kept saying it over and over again. Please leave me. I said it's impossible for me to want anything to do with you. And yet I still get this feeling like, oh, well, don't ever pressure my son for anything. You leave him alone. You don't ever sit here and try to make it like where, oh, try to put my son in pressure or try to manipulate my son, psychologically abuse him. And if people think that this is weird, it's not weird, okay? It is legal. What I'm saying is 100% legal. Your family does not have the right to do this to you. Okay, and I've been financially manipulated. I've been abused by these particular people claiming that, oh, well, they're the son of my father. And they're son of, yeah, they're my son's father. Or they're, Lisa was my sister or whatever. Actually, when you look for a job, your job is supposed to be you apply for the job, you communicate with the employer. And yes, people do sometimes arrange jobs for people, but they manage it illegally, especially since they always want some sort of tie into it, like religious tie, marriage tie, or whatever. Bruce Collins, please leave me alone. I want nothing to do with you. I don't ever want to see you again. Okay? That goes for Joel Graham as well, and all the people I used to know. It is what it is, okay? So yeah, it is very devastating, especially when people deal with abusive situations, and sometimes they end up in shelters or they end up by themselves and they have to go out to the world where they don't know anyone. Yeah, it is traumatizing. It is scary, okay, because I don't know anyone. But the thing is, it's like, what does that tell you? That means that I would rather face the world where people I don't know than go back to something that made me that unhappy and made me that psychologically distraught, just like, it just bothered me, okay? And it has nothing to do, okay, yes, it does have a lot to do with them being religious, but it has more to do with who these people are as a person. Okay? I do not want my life to be ever attributed to any religion because I'm the person, I myself dug myself out of my own hole. When I was all alone, I was a person who talked myself through it. I am by my own way, I'm the person who made who I cannot attribute that to any religion. It is me. Okay, so, and aside from that, I feel as though, like I said, whether these people were religious or not, I still wouldn't want to have anything to do with them. But you add the element of religion, it gets even more sick because then you have these people who are abusive, right? And then they want to get self righteous about it and act like they're religious. I don't want to hear it. Okay? I really don't. So anyway, I just had to say that. I had to release it. It sounds like I'm saying I sound like a broken record, but I have said these same things before, and I cannot tell you how many times I would get in intuitive messages or readings about these same people hovering around, wanting me to reconsider coming back. Stay the fuck away from me. Forever. And I mean it. Don't ever think that there's ever going to be a chance for me to ever turn. I cannot stand you. I hate you. I don't want anything to do with you, and I need you to understand that. Okay? I need you to understand that. You did too much, okay? And like I said, I do get the intuitive feeling that something about some sort of manipulation, that there was manipulation going on when it came to the rent payment. That's something that the employer did, okay? And probably did it on Bruce's behalf or maybe something like that. That was his fault, and it's not my problem. Okay, he should be taking accountability for that. That right there is illegal, and no, I do not want anything to do with Bruce. I don't care. Please die in the street and leave me alone. Okay? And this has nothing to do with the fact whether Vladimir Putin is coming into my life or not. Okay? It's the fact that you do not deserve to sit here and psychologically abuse me and then think that you're going to have something to do with me. Leave me alone. Okay? I want to make it very clear. That's important for me. Because, um, you know, what I miss? I just miss it when it was just me and my son. Okay, it seems like the more people involved in my life, the more problems that just come into my life. Okay, nobody does anything for me. I've never had anyone decent. Okay, and these people who were abusive to me in the past, they would be abusive to me in the future. Okay, I don't want your lifestyle. I don't want anything to do with you. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that my son does feel safe, and he does feel that way about these people too. He does, okay? Just leave us alone. And I want to make sure that we are left alone and that we do not experience any more setbacks because of your illegal shit, okay? You've already caused enough problems. You affected my credit. It's like you affected my credit. You affected my vehicle. I don't have a vehicle anymore. It's all because of these people wanting to get involved with my work, wanting to attach themselves to my work, throwing their 2 cents worth into my work, and then spreading this nonsense in the community and other places, okay? So after something like that, no, I would never. And plus, like I said, the issue that makes it extremely sensitive is the fact that I'm adopted, that you collaborated with the kids of 533. These kids knew good and well that I was not really their sibling, okay? So they were out to financially abuse me, and you had these people who jumped on the bandwagon. If you don't understand why that's inappropriate, I don't know what else to tell you. Never bother me again. Never, ever bother me again. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this video, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.